Hi y'all, Snarky J Cosplay here with my review of episode 3 of Obi Wan Kenobi. Now, I have to say, this show just gets better and better. I actually have to give this episode a solid 8 out of 10. This show is progressing fairly well. We're about halfway through now, and I haven't felt bored or like it was moving too slowly yet. There's so much tension in this episode that it makes it a really enjoyable, borderline edge of your seat watch. There's some really cool appearances, some great action sequences, really neat dialogue, and a cliffhanger for the next episode that'll definitely leave you wishing that it was already next Wednesday. I thought this episode was super solid, and that's all I really have to say without spoilers. Now, let's get into it. Once again, Ewan McGregor is just putting his acting chops to work. It's so powerful seeing the parallels between him contending with everything that happened between him and Anakin's transformation into Darth Vader. It's super intense and really, really cool to watch. It's such a big deal seeing Darth Vader in live action again, especially because the original voice, James Earl Jones, is back. Though they are modifying it because he is a lot older than he was when he voiced him in the original trilogy, it's still that iconic voice that we know and love, and it feels so good to hear it again. More on Vader later, though. I love the visuals in this episode. The scenes on Mapuzo, which is this mining colony that's been ravaged by the Empire, it's so neat. And I love Obi-Wan's explanation of what exactly happened on this mining planet. It helps to ground Star Wars a little bit. Seeing what the Empire has done to so many different people, it makes it more practical and makes Star Wars more relatable in a real-life sense. There is so much tension to be enjoyed in this episode. Moments like Obi-Wan and Leia sharing a transport with a bunch of stormtroopers and later being saved by Tala, who is disguised as an Imperial officer, it literally leaves you on the edge of your seat, despite the fact that this show is kind of low stakes. However, the highlights of this episode are owed entirely to the interactions between Obi Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. I feel like this is a conflict that we've been wanting to see more of. We saw it in the original trilogy, but we wanted more, and we're finally getting it. Vader's brutality to the citizens of Mapuzo isn't exactly a surprise, but it is kind of shocking to see how well Disney does it. We know Disney has a habit of wanting to water down villains, and somebody as brutal as Vader, it's kind of surprising that they actually show him dragging people through the street, snapping necks, and choking people out left and right. But it's so effective because this is so clearly Anakin's way of showing Obi-Wan this is what happens when you run, and this is what will continue to happen to innocent people if you don't stop. The confrontation between the two as they break into a saber fight is beautiful. The combat is well executed, the music is phenomenal, the dialogue, Obi-Wan's almost stunned silence, and Anakin's continuous prodding of him, it's super in character and really, really cool. I just love that Vader's not being watered down at all, and within the context of this freshly enraged Anakin, it is so satisfying to see. Admittedly, even as Obi-Wan is pressed into fire, the stakes are super low in this show. We know how all these characters' stories end, and that's something that showrunners have to contend with. However, I think Deborah Chow's directing and all the writing in every episode is really doing an excellent job of keeping us on the edge of our seats and keeping us entertained with the show. It could be really easy to make it boring, but it's actually really good. I really don't have many gripes with this episode. I still think little Leia's adorable. I really like the third sister. She's reckless, she's angry, but she wants to get the job done. Ewan McGregor is doing a brilliant job as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I know that it's a little bit fangirly, but I could not be happier to see Darth Vader in live action again with the original voice going off on Obi-Wan. It's just too good to be mad at. I'm almost tempted to say that this show is just getting better as it progresses. This episode was definitely stronger than the last two, which were already pretty solid. I think the showrunners are doing a brilliant job, the actors in the show are doing excellent work, and I'm really, really enjoying Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like I said before, I give this show an 8 out of 10, and I'm super stoked to see what next week has in store. That's all I've got to say on that. I've been Snarky J. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on this episode of Obi Wan Kenobi in the comments below.